Good evening. Faiza Amin at Dundas subway station. If Toronto ever faced a nuclear attack, officials told citizens they could use the subway system as a nuclear fallout shelter. That was during the Cold War decades ago. So people would head underground if they ever received an alert similar to the one that was issued to the state of Hawaii mistakenly just yesterday. As an investigation is underway tonight to find out how that mistake was made. Some people are also asking if the same error could be made here in Canada.
Before reading the whole thing, I thought it was like flash flood or tsunami or something like that, because it seems more likely. But then when reading it, of course, you start thinking North Korea stuff.
The emergency alerts came in caps. Vancouver native David Watt's message reading, ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter.
This is not a drill. Take immediate action measures.
The alarms blaring loud during television broadcasts, causing panic Saturday morning as many looked for shelter. A text between a Toronto man on vacation on the Paradise Island and his brother capturing that fear. One message reading, everyone is freaking out. And this tweet with a photo attached, we're hanging out in the hotel basement, it stated.
Building manager came out from the courtyard below and sort of addressed us on the bullhorn, saying, you know, get into the middle of the building, stay in the bathrooms, this is not a drill. Yeah, it was all pretty scary.
Watts, who was on vacation in Maui with his wife and 2 young kids, says he received this text update nearly 1 hour later. There is no missile threat or danger. False alarm, it read.
The message we got yesterday was a scary one that we'd just assume not get. You want the system to work properly.
Officials in Hawaii issued an apology confirming the mistake and stating an employee pressed a wrong button during a shift change, which triggered the false warning.
There's a checklist that is in place, so that should have been followed, and I'm going to find out why it wasn't or what happened in this. Again, let me assure you that I'm going to look through this, investigate, and this will not happen again.
But can the same mistake happen here in Canada?
Unfortunately, it can. You can't stop human error. Most people are always concerned from a malicious point of view. Can somebody, again, hack the system and send those alerts? There's always a potential for that, especially as we rely on digital channels of communication.
A security expert says Canada's emergency alert system has been in place since the Cold War, but has since evolved.
There's sirens around the Ottawa area and the Parliament and so on. It's just we have come to a point that we understand that's not the most effective way of communicating danger or threat to the citizens or a geographical disaster.
Daniel Tobak says there's stringent policies and procedures in place before that alert is communicated to the public, a system that's overlooked by both federal and provincial governments with the help of the CRTC. In 2014, Tobak says the government made changes in how it communicates threats and dangers to the public, things like fires, floods, and amber alerts to residents.
The beauty is, that has evolved over the past 30 years is that now we have more channels, no pun intended, to get through and communicate potential dangers to citizens. So we have SMSs, we have radio, we have television, and we have signals. People always wondered, are we going to hear those big sirens outside? That's not really how an emergency would be communicated. It's really the other means and other channels, Twitter, Facebook, and so on.
And just last year, the CRTC announced to wireless service providers that they would be required to subscribe and implement public alerting capabilities to their networks on a long-term basis. The deadline given for that is April of this year.